Hi everyone and welcome to Valley View Living. It's Megan here. Hi. I live out in the country in New South Wales, Australia. We live here on a multi-gen block and we are raising 6 kids out here and learning to homestead as we go. So we are raising meat for the table. We raise beef and pork. We are currently incubating some fertile chicken eggs so we can grow our flock in the coming warmer months, and I have plans in the back of my mind to get my veggie patch really going this spring and summer. But today's video is a Sunday reset. So we're going to tidy up this kitchen, get this kitchen cleaned after feeding 8 hungry people this morning. We're going to organize and clean down, get some food made that we can put away for the week. I'm going to make a maple granola. And what else will we do? We need to rotate some cows into another paddock. And yeah, all that kind of good things. A little bit of laundry in there as well, of course, because when is there not laundry in there? So it's just going to be a gentle video today while we go around the property and get some things done that will set up the week for us and make it a bit easier in the days to come. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes to keep a home running, isn't there? A lot of planning, a lot of organising, and really a lot of work. So on this Sunday, I'm just trying to get ahead of the game a little bit so that I can wake up on Monday morning needing to do school with my kids, needing to get on with meals and home tasks and whatever farm work we need to do, fitting that all into the day. I'd much prefer to fit it into a kitchen that feels pleasant to be in and is functional because I've tidied things up a bit. So we're going to have to give this gas cooktop a wipe down, definitely. I find I need to do this probably, if not every day, every 2 days. We cook so much using that cooktop. It really does need the work and the attention, but we'll definitely get it done today. That will make it much nicer to cook on. Here I'm just cleaning my cast iron pan from breakfast. We had some fried eggs with breakfast, and all that I do is get the pan smoking hot and put it under cold running water. That's it. It lifts everything off the pan. I give it a gentle scrub out with my dish brush, but I don't need any kind of cleaning solution. I don't need to use dishwashing liquid. It's just the action of the cold water and the steam cleans the pan completely. And then I'll just pop it back on my stovetop and that's where it lives. So I have found the cast iron really easy to take care of and an amazing investment. That was from Solid Techniques, the Australian-made cast iron, or they call it wrought iron, which I'm not actually sure what the difference is, but it was very much worth the investment. So I'm loving that pan, absolutely. I'll never go back to whatever it was I used before. I don't even remember what it was. So we're going to get this cleaned down and just feeling nice. My kids are, I think a couple of them right now are watching a movie. They actually still have a lingering cold. I know if you watch my videos, it might feel like, hey, they're always sick. We're not really, but we are kind of regularly, I have to admit it. It feels like it goes hand in hand with little kids mixing. So my youngest children go to playgroup every week just so they can go and be around kids, other kids their own age, and do a lot of age-appropriate activities that other lovely humans host and put together for parents so that we don't have to. And they even clean up after them, which is wonderful, right? So we do take our kids to that once a week, but lately it feels like within a couple of days after playgroup, we're all sniffling again. And it really is an exhausting cycle. But I know that it passes in time. It seems to be something that little kids are really susceptible to, but they definitely grow out of. But I have to say, this is a real benefit to outdoor groups that meet. A lot of our homeschool groups are outdoors, and it just seems like we're much less susceptible to catching illness that way. But anyway, all that to say that, a couple of my kids are a bit tired, so they're watching a movie, and the rest of my kids have gone outside to enjoy this winter sunshine, which is absolutely beautiful. The mornings are absolutely freezing at the moment, but on a sunny morning like this one, by about maybe 10:30, 11, it is really warm and enjoyable, and all you want to do is go and curl up in that beautiful golden sunlight. But we're not going to do that right now because we've got to get these tasks done. So I probably spent about 45 minutes in the kitchen. There's always a lot going on in our kitchen. It's not a kitchen that stays pristine and beautiful by any means, because I do cook from scratch in this kitchen 3 times a day, probably close to every day, but that's what it's for, in my opinion. So I'm not adverse to mess at all. I just know that it's part of the cycle. Make mess and clean it up. So I'm going to get this done. There's always a big bowl of food scraps sitting on our kitchen bench. That's for the pigs. And there's probably also a bowl for chickens hanging around. There's always stuff in our kitchen. A few times a week I will have a pot simmering for chicken broth. And that's what I was decanting earlier, that pot on the stove. So I have just had that simmering for it's been sitting on the stovetop for the last day, and I just have probably had it simmering for maybe 6 or 7 hours of that time, and it just sat out overnight, which is fine. It's so cold in the kitchen at the moment. And then in the morning I brought it back to the boil anyway, just in case, that kills any kind of bacteria. And then I just strained it off and popped it in my glass jar to use through this week, which I know is going to be handy, and I will reach for it. I use it for all kinds of things. If I'm making a soup, obviously I will use that whole 2 liters of stock in that one meal. But other things that I'm really happy it's there for is, say, making a gravy. That is lovely. And also for cooking rice in. Now you see that container there of that gross stuff? That was homemade Play-Doh. So my kids had a bit of fun with homemade Play-Doh this week, but it has not kept well, and it's all slimy and ooky. But hey, it's completely biodegradable. It's just flour and a little bit of oil and water and salt. So I'm just going to, like a good farm woman, I'm just going to take that out to the nearest bunch of trees and chuck that into the bush. And that way it will just break down and it's gone. It's out of my hair, and I just have to wash that gross container now. No biggie, right? It's done. The first time that I saw another mum just sweep everything into a pile, all the kids' toys, all the stuff on the floor, she just swept it into a pile. I was like, wow, why have I not been doing that? Are we allowed to do that? I had just never thought of it before. So I had been painstakingly just picking everything up separately, right? And that was just a real opener for me and made things so much more simple. sweeping it all into a pile, and then just picking out the bits you want to keep and disposing of the things you don't want to keep. And that made everything much more simple. Okay, so we've gotten the kitchen to the point where I am happy. The dishwasher is running, the floors are reasonable, and I know I can walk straight back into that kitchen and get something done a little later on. So we're going to head out, and we're actually rotating our very small mob of cattle here. We have 4 cows at the moment. We have a mum and her baby, who is a bull calf. We have another heifer cow and a heifer calf. This is Chamomile. She is our youngest little heifer calf. She is a Jersey cross something. I don't know what, maybe. Yeah, no, I'd only be guessing. And she was the last just to be rounded up into this small little paddock. This is the only spot we have on our property now that has this kind of lush green grass. Everything else has just been eaten down, and there's not enough sunshine or enough rain for the grass to grow at this time of year. So they're mostly eating hay and some grain as well, because Hazel is lactating, and it's possible that Cream and Hazel are both pregnant. We have had visiting neighbouring bulls on our property. Now, a bull is not really going to come and visit just to say hello to your ladies. He is there for a reason. So it is quite possible that both the girls are pregnant, and we don't want them losing a lot of condition over the cold months. So they are having a bit of soaked grain and lots of hay, as much hay as they can eat. But it was great to get them into a fresh new paddock and just see them in some green grass. Looking forward to those lusher days ahead. Alrighty, let's get this dining section of the kitchen handled. You know how it is, there's just all this stuff multiplying throughout the kitchen and the dining room throughout the week. So we're going to put everything that doesn't belong there away. So I'm going to put these books away. Yes, of course I had an armful of laundry and clothes. There's always clothes just throughout the main part of the house for some reason. And just tidying things up, putting things in order, putting things away. For example, those big sacks of flour, I've had those sitting in my kitchen since my honest to goodness haul weeks ago. I just need to get these things sorted, put away in the pantry, and get everything just nice and put back together. If you have mothered young children, have you had these kind of strange creations just put together throughout your living areas as well? My kids, a couple of them are just the types who will rearrange their house to suit their purpose, take everything as a creative endeavour and just put together all kinds of things from all kinds of materials. Hey, there's the paper towel one of my lovely viewers told me about. Yes, Woolies has these huge bumper paper towel rolls. So I did order one of those. I think that the price per sheet was cheaper than buying the smaller rolls, and it's definitely more convenient and less packaging. So I do like it. It's great. Thanks for telling me about that. So as I was saying, yeah, I've got kids who just take things as tools to create with, and I just didn't have the heart to take this one apart. It was a little house that they built for one of their toys. So I've left it there for now, and I guess I have to say I do prize creativity over tidiness. So it's fine. They'll grow out of it and they're enjoying it, and I will let them enjoy it. Sometimes I think this is kind of pointless. I'm going to clear everything off the table that my kids regularly use, give it a wipe down, and then I'll put my favourite tablecloth on. This beautiful hand-embroidered vintage tablecloth, which I don't even really want my kids to eat on because it's way too pretty. And of course, when it gets dirty, I just have to wash it and the whole system starts again. So when you've got young, messy kids, it can feel really pointless to do these kinds of pretty finishing touches in your living space. But I guess I really didn't do it in the early years when I only had young children. I really didn't. And then I thought I would do it later. But later came, and then I realized all those years that something I would have liked, having a pretty table now and then, I just never did because I was worried it would get messed up and dirty and it would feel pointless. But the point is that I enjoy it while it's there. So I've started doing it more often, and I do enjoy having it there, and that way, not even more years will pass and I haven't done those little things that actually are meaningful to me and just bring a little bit more beauty into the common spaces. But this room is not about beauty, it is utilitarian, let's face it. This is my laundry, and laundry for 8 people is a lot of clothing. 4 of my kids aren't able to manage their own laundry yet, so I do all of theirs for them. And the older kids tend to do their own, which is great. There is light at the end of the tunnel when you're taking care of lots of young kids. They do learn to do these skills for themselves. But for now, I've just got to come in, spend 20 minutes here. I don't spend a lot of time in here. I manage our laundry in a way that it is as quick and simple as I can. So I've tidied it up. I've sorted things into different baskets. I am going to leave them from here. People know where the clean washing is, and it works for us. Somebody's very happy with my neatly made table. Just charming. I wanted to show you this sweet little tea set that I put together from finds at the op shop. So I just had a look on the shelves there, and they were selling, of course, these were cheap as chips. Cheaper than chips these days. So I got them a little, it's actually just a milk jug. They just use it for pouring and pretend they're having tea, and we'll put orange juice in there or water or plain milk, whatever. And these cute little cups and saucers, none of them match. I think they've already lost one of the really pretty ones or broken it, but that's okay. It was so cheap, and they absolutely love getting that out and having a little tea party. So that was fun to pick up at the op shop and just put it together. Now, what would a day of Valley View living be without food? It would be very strange and unusual, wouldn't it? So we're going to cram some food into our Sunday reset. I'm going to get some granola made for my kids, and they will snack on this all week. Whenever I hear the "I'm hungry," between meals, after meals, when I've cleaned down the kitchen and I'm just not interested in doing anything else, I will have that granola to hand, and they will be able to grab that for themselves. So I don't really have a recipe because it doesn't really need a recipe. It is, as long as it is sweet and it is oily, then it will coat every grain and it will be crunchy and tasty and yummy. So in this one, I'm doing some coconut oil, some coconut sugar, some maple syrup. I've just put some vanilla essence in there. Also some cinnamon. Hey, why not? Let's just toss in all the flavors. Some sea salt. And then I'm also going to add some cacao into this one to make it a chocolate granola, as is one of my kids' favorites. And then I just had a hunt around for some mix-ins, and I mostly had coconut hanging around the house, so some, what are they called? Coconut flakes, maybe? Yeah, coconut flakes, and then also shredded coconut that I wanted to use up. The only nut that I had at the moment was Brazil nuts. Now that's fine, that's great. I really do want my kids eating those. They're fantastic for supporting your thyroid, full of selenium, and I am happy for that to be mixed into a tasty, crunchy granola so they don't even know that they're eating something that is a nutrient powerhouse, right? And that's actually why I love granola so much. If I've got something that's really good for them, it's so easy to put it into the mix and get them eating it. I'm very happy with these new stainless steel trays, something that I had been waiting to invest in till I had just that little bit spare in the budget. And these weren't expensive actually. I bought them off Amazon and they were about $22 each, I think. They're huge, stainless steel, wonderful quality. And I purchased these because I want to stop using baking paper. It feels kind of like just doesn't really align with what I want to use in my kitchen. I've been using it for so long to line pans. It's so convenient, it's so easy, but it kind of feels like I'm avoiding Teflon and non-stick surfaces, and then I am putting it next to my food anyway. So I'm just trying to wean off that baking paper habit that I have, and this stainless steel trays do a really good job of that. So I've just actually buttered them. I wasn't sure if granola would stick. It probably won't because it's so oily, but I wasn't sure. So I buttered the trays and I'm just going to pop these in the oven. What I do is cook them for about 15 minutes at 150. So not a hot oven, quite moderate, and then I'll swap them over. Now, this is not something you want to see when you live on a farm. You look out your kitchen window and there is a cow on your driveway where it shouldn't be. So this is the naughty Cream who has escaped from that new little paddock we just put her into and has decided to go walk about up the driveway of our property.
Creamy?
But luckily, she's one of our friendly ones and easy to get back home.
Yes, she's not meant to be here. Come on. Let's get you off the driveway.
So, crisis averted. No car accidents, no drama, no cows running away. The granola is ready. I'm just going to pop it up here to cool. I will leave it there for at least a couple of hours. You know, it can sit there all afternoon. No drama, that's fine. And after that has cooled down, I'm going to pop it into glass jars to store. And that is something that if I can just fit that, I don't know, what does it take? Maybe 45 minutes totally to make this. If I can fit that into my weekend or one day during the week, it really is worthwhile, a good investment for me. Something that's wonderful about it is for my picky children. I really just have one who is very picky. And that way, this is something that she really enjoys, and I can make sure, you know, that I know she's always got something that she can eat. Very much a safe food, as they say. So I love to have that on the kitchen bench and ready to go. And I have to say, it is really, really tasty and yummy. So the sun sets on another weekend here on the farm, and we've got things done. We've got chicken broth in the fridge, granola on the bench, the floor is swept, the kitchen's cleaned, the dining table looks nice, and I can enjoy it for at least one evening. Thanks for joining me. I really love your company here. And if you've enjoyed it too, please feel free to like or comment or subscribe. And then I'll see you next time. Bye.